Good morning, guys, or good afternoon, whether you're joining me from the present or the future. Welcome back to another FutureFight Vanguard video. Welcome back to day 2 of week 2 of our Corona catch-up series. It's not really a series, but during our Corona catch-up where we just catch up on all of the channel content that has been missing so far. So today we're going to be continuing with the V-EB10 V-EB10 set, the Mysterious Fortune. We're doing the last deck within this set, which is the Nectar deck. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Nectar is very much so mechanic-wise like a deck that just creates they're like plants, like it's like a garden. So you grow your garden and then you stomp your opponent. You try to don't let them cut your weeds, basically. But basically, Nectar works off of the like the premise of tokens, creating tokens. If you guys have played Yu-Gi-Oh, tokens are like cards that are not real cards, but they're more like pseudo cards, where you can just create them and they do different things depending on what they are. In Vanguard, the tokens that you create are units, but they're not really like real units with abilities. They just have like a placeholder, like they can boost or something like that, such as like in Nubatama and other decks that create tokens. But Nectar is the main deck that creates tokens, so it's kind of like, you know, you create plant tokens, so they are just there to help you attack and boost and stuff. And with this set, those tokens are getting a significant boost in the form of the Arboros deck. But we're going to get right into the deck. Before we do, if you guys haven't already, be sure to like the video, comment down below letting me know your thoughts of the video or any tips and tricks that you have for someone else who might be building the deck. Also be sure to check out our second channel Let's Plays Animes, if you guys are interested in anime, animation, or video games. And also be sure to check out that join button down below next to the subscribe button so that you guys can check out our new channel memberships as well if that's something that you guys are interested in. But with that being said, let's get right into the deck. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the Arboros deck. It's not a bad deck. I feel like it just came out at the wrong time, to be honest. But it still does decently well. It's not like a top deck of the format or anything like that, but it's still very fun. And Nectar, for myself, being one of my favorite clans, is like a deck that I played a lot during this format and I thought was really solid. So let's talk about the cards. So we have 4 grade 3s here. Or sorry, we have 8 grade 3s, but 4 of our main grade 3, which is Arboros, Dragon, Sephiroth. So Sephiroth has 2 abilities. The first one is a continuous Vanguard ability that says the plant tokens that you call are called as grade 0, power 10,000, shield 10,000, critical 1, and have boost and intercept. So this is a huge boost to a huge buff to tokens in general, since tokens are usually grade 0, 5,000 power, and I think they usually have 5,000 shield, if I'm not mistaken. And then they usually have boost, but they do not have intercept. So giving them intercept allows them to kind of function as grade 2s, but then they're also like better than grade 2s as far as shielding, because you're able to intercept for 10k blocks instead of intercepting for 5k. So that's very, very good, especially against stuff that has like guard restrict, like things out there like in the Mordred deck, Danger Lunge or Waterfall from Kagero. Stuff like that is just very good to defend against. It also makes you have 10k boosters that are easy to create because you're creating tokens. So very, very easy as long as you have Sephiroth as your Vanguard. Any token that you create will be the buff tokens, the enhanced plant tokens, I call them. So then its second skill is Vanguard Rearguard, retire a Rearguard, and then you can call up to 2 plant tokens to Rearguard. And if you have 5 or more Rearguards, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So pretty easy to fulfill this skill. You basically just put 4 units on the board, you pop 1, you create 2 tokens, and then boom, you have 5 more Rearguards, it gets plus 10,000. So you can do this skill even if you won't be making 5, you just won't be getting plus 10,000. So very, very notable or easy to remember. Then we have 4 Fruit Assort Dragon. I really, really like this card on Rearguard, but its skill is Vanguard and Rearguard. It also has Force, so if you ride it as a backup, you will be sad, but not that sad. So its skill is Vanguard Rearguard continuous during your turn. Increase this unit's power by the total original power of all of your grade 0 Rearguards. So what this means is that if you have 3 tokens on the board, 3 10k tokens from Sephiroth, then Fruits of Swords will gain 30k power, making it easily a 40 3 K power by itself, and then if it's boosted by a token, it'll become 53. So it makes really big numbers, and your opponent guarding really big numbers like that every single turn is eventually going to wear them down, especially if you have 2 Fruit of Sorts Dragon or something like that. Moving on to our grade 2s, we have 4 Arbros Dragon Timber. Timber has a Vanguard and a Rearguard ability. The Vanguard ability is when placed, a plant token that the next time that you call a plant token, it is called as the enhanced plant token that grade 3 Sephiroth makes, which is really good. And then the Rearguard skill is when placed, you may call a plant token. So basically, if you have 2 Timbers to start off with, riding one to Vanguard and calling one to Rearguard so that you can create that 10k token for the other side front row is a great way to rush your opponent in the early game without having to commit much from your hand, and it just makes for really, really good pressure in the early game against your opponent. Then we have 4 formation style of Arboros Oliver. So what Oliver does is it has a Vanguard Rearguard ability that says if your soul has 2 or more cards with Arboros in its name, counterblast 1, and you can perform one of either of the following effects. You can either A, call 2 plant tokens to Rearguard, or B, retire 2 Rearguards, and this unit gets plus 20,000 and a critical. So obviously, very, very good pressure card. You can even do this card just to skill in grade 2, considering that your starter is Arboros and you have a grade 1 Arboros. So assuming that you ride the ride chain correctly, you can use this card on grade 2. It's also very, very good to pressure, just because if you have tokens that are Rearguards and they're just pointless anyways, you can just retire 2 tokens to make this card plus 20k and a crit, and it's very easy from there to create more tokens. So it's not really like a minus at all, because many of the cards in this deck create tokens for free. So very, very good card. Then we have 4 Pansy Musketeer Sylvia, rounding out the grade 2 lineup. It has a Vanguard Rearguard ability that says when placed, you may call a plant token. So pretty simplistic. It just has Timber's Rearguard ability, but it's on Vanguard Rearguard, so you can either ride it or call it, and it creates a plant token for you to do whatever you please with it. Moving on to our grade 1s, we have 4 Arbos Dragon Branch. Now, I will actually say this card is actually my favorite card in the deck. It just makes the deck so somewhat consistent for you. It has a Vanguard or Rearguard ability that says when its attack or the attack that it boosted hits, basically if it participates in an attack that hits, you may look at the top 4 cards from your deck. If you do, reveal up to 1 card with Arboros in its name from among them and put it into your hand, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So very, very good card. It allows you to look at top 4, and you can either get Oliver, you can get Timber, or you can get Sephiroth, or you can get another branch. So and then you can stack your triggers as well, because since you never shuffle in this deck, putting cards at the bottom is like creating a stack. And so if you hit with multiple times with a branch or multiple branches a game, then eventually you work your way down to that trigger stack, and then you just remember where it is, and then you know what you're going to check, which can be very, very, very good. Moving on to our next grade 1, we have 4 Fruiting Wheat Maiden Ephnia. So Ephnia, what its skill is it has a continuous Rearguard and Guard Circle skill. It says all of your plant tokens in the same column as this unit or on Guard Circle with this unit cannot be chosen by the opponent's effects, and they also get plus 5,000 power and plus 5,000 shield. Now, something that people get confused with this card a lot is if you play this card, so let's make an example. So let's call a token, right? So this is what the 10k token is going to look like, and this is what the 5k token is going to look like, in case you guys were wondering what they look like. So this is the 10k token. Boom, can be here in the front row. This is the 5k token. So if you have a Ephnia, right, and you place it here, when you place this token here, it is going to get plus 5,000 power and plus 5,000 shield. So right now, while it is here, it has 15k shield. However, when you intercept, it is no longer in this rearguard circle, so it loses the power and the shield that were on it here. So a lot of people assume that when you intercept, it's still 15k shield. It's just 10k shield. Now, however, if you save this card in your hand, and let's say that you have this card on rearguard, if you intercept with it, and then you play this down 2, this is now a 25k shield, because this is now actively giving 5k shield to this token. So I just thought that was very important to mention, because that is like a common misconception people seem to have about this deck, and it is wrong. So make sure you're doing that the right way when you play this deck. Next up for our next grade 1, we're running 4 Fruit Baskets Elf. So what Fruit Baskets Elf does is on the rearguard circle during the main phase, you can Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit, and then you get to call 2 plant tokens to rearguard, and if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, those plant tokens get plus 5,000 power until the end of the turn. So very, very good card. I really only use it when I'm on grade 3 or when I have a need to create 2 tokens like Oliver or something like that, or Fruit of Sorts Dragon, you know, something along those lines, so that you can get yourself up in pressure and get your pressure going in the early game sometimes. Then we run the last one of our grade 1s. We run at 1. We run 1 Maiden of Happy Fawn. Basically, Happy Fawn just says rear guard when placed. Call up to 1 plant token of rear guard. So this is really just when we see it. When we see it, we had an additional spot, and so I wanted to run this at 1 because it is basically just another plant token generation card, and that's really good to have. You can never go wrong with those. And it doesn't matter that we see it at 1 because we don't necessarily need to run into it, but if we do see it, run into it, it'll be a plus as well. So then for our triggers, we're running 8 crit, 4 draw, and 4 heal, 4 Spicy Fighter Capsine, 2 Chestnut Bullet, 2 Night Queen Musketeer Daniel, 4 Maiden of Blossom Rain, and 4 Watering Elf. So with that, that has been the deck portion of the video. We're going to get right into the games here. So loading up Neo Nectar Game 1. We're actually playing against Genesis for Game 1. And it looks like it is like a mix of the Valkyrian deck and the Himiko deck. But we are actually able to get our grade 2 rush off really well. Like I was talking to you guys about in the deck portion of the video. Everything went kind of well. We also checked to heal. So we're ahead right now by a decent margin. Our opponent tries to rush us back, so we force our opponent to play grade 1s from their hand because basically they have to rush us back to make anything useful. So we intercept with that token because we're about to call 2 more with Sephiroth. We attack for 31. We go force 2 in this deck, by the way, because it's just easier to do that. And then our opponent made it 1 to pass. We also got through, but our opponent 6 damage healed. And then our opponent attacks us for 13, draws 2. We intercept. Attacks for 41, gets a crit, and we get a heal. And then the last thing that happens is we get attacked for 26 and we intercept. So you kind of want to intercept as many times as you can with Sephiroth because you're about to create more tokens anyways. So it's kind of just like you want to be able to do that if you can anyways. So then we did Fruit Basket's elf skill, and we also did Sephiroth's skill, and he obviously can't block that, and we keep these cards in hand, so we have like a decent enough hand to block his next turn if he had one. But yeah, that ends up being game 1. Moving on to game 2 here. We're playing against Aquaforce this time. This seems to be the like the blue wave version of the new deck. So our opponent no passes our first attack because he doesn't want us to double plus off of Branch, but Branch is going to be there the entire game, so he pretty much has to let it hit eventually. We check top 4, we don't get anything, and so we put the 4 to bottom, starting that stack of ours that we were talking about. Our opponent plays all the blue wing cards, and then he makes us go down to 5k with Revan's skill. He attacks us, we take it, we PG Vanguard. He does check a crit and a draw, so that was just too much for us to take, and we end up losing there because that was too much pressure for us to take in the early game, especially with his trigger checks. So that ends up being game 2, super quick, fast, easy. We got annihilated pretty much. And then game 3 seems like we're playing against Bermuda, probably Coral, but this actually looks like it's Pacifica. So maybe it's like a Pacifica Coral mix, or they're just using Coral as their starter. Either or, we get our grade 2 rush turn off. He damages the Pacifica, which is good because he doesn't have the grade 2 yet that gets Pacifica out of the damage zone. So he's not able to access that, so it's lost to him for right now. He chooses to attack our rear guards. He checks top 7 for Pacifica, and he gets it. So we're forced to ride Fruit of Sorts, which is awful, but Fruit of Sorts is also gaining power from all the tokens that we have on board. And we also went Force 2. So our opponent couldn't block this Fruit of Sorts actually because it was too big. And then we checked the crit, so we're able to just do 3 damage to him. And that ends up being the game before it even really gets started. But that has been our 3 games for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like I said before, be sure to leave a like on the video. Comment below letting me know your thoughts. Be sure to check out our second channel, Let's Plays Animes. And be sure to check out the join button for our channel memberships down below as well. But with that being said, this has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, guys.